You know, it's interesting. You try to help as many people as possible with deer hunting, whether it's how you hunt, how you manage property, how you hunt public land, how you manage your trail cameras, make habitat improvements, food plots, whatever it might be, anything that has to do with whitetail. And so I talk about top 5 deer hunting skills. That's today's topic. And what's interesting is you see people that have hunted for a lifetime that don't develop these 5 skills for whatever reason. Either they're a reliance on this or that, certain ways they were taught that they never got out of. And the reason I like to see you develop these 5 skills is because it not only makes you a better hunter, but it'll make you more engaged in hunting, be more successful. And if you're more engaged in the hunt, if you're actively involved in the strategy of the hunt, and you're more successful, guess what? Doesn't matter if they're big bucks, small, does, fawns, whatever they are, you're going to be a hunter for life. You're not going to lose interest because you're always trying to improve yourself. People say on some of my strategy videos, I'll get comments like, yeah, why do we need to worry about all this stuff? Don't worry about this stuff, just go and have fun and hunt. Well, guess what? There's a lot of us, including hopefully you out there, that want to do your best at anything you do, let alone hunting. Doesn't matter if it's your job, your family, your career, certainly your hunt, things you're passionate about. So some of us out there actually like to do our best and expect higher results, and we want to put our effort into that. And if you follow these 5 skills, you can do so. The first one, when you're accessing the land to hunt. Now people are going to say, well, you have to know how to shoot your bow, have to shoot your gun, you have to wear clothing. You know, obviously you got to wear clothes to the deer stand. I don't care what you wear. You have to actually learn how to shoot your bow, shoot your gun, be proficient at it. Let's get those basics out of the way. But when you're accessing your land, think about a predator, a giant cat. When they're sneaking out on a herd of whatever, a lion sneaking in, they're off to the side, they're being predatory. They're actually getting on and off the parcel without spooking deer. That's an obvious one. What that really means is during the morning, you can't access through food sources. You can't access on hunting food sources because if there's deer there already, you spook them. Not only do you ruin the hunt for that morning, but you ruin it for that afternoon and often a week or more after that too. So you really have to pay attention when you're accessing. You have to avoid deer. So in the morning, that means avoid food sources. In the afternoon, that means avoid bedding areas because they're already there. Same with food sources in the morning, deer are already in the bedding areas. So if you learn to define morning, food sources, afternoon bedding, and you access accordingly so you're not spooking deer out in those locations, doesn't matter if you're hunting private land or public land, you make sure you avoid those areas and you'll be on the right track towards a successful hunt. Number 2, quiet gear and stands. So you access appropriately, you access great, you're hunting 40 acres, you're hunting a small chunk of public, and then you climb up a noisy stand. You stand at the base of a tree getting gear on, making a bunch of noise, and then climbing up. You can't afford to do that, especially in tight corners and a lot of areas where hunting land is highly pressured. We all hunt in a lot of us hunt in high pressured areas, whether it's Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio, Indiana, a lot of pressured states in those states, and you could extend that down to Oklahoma, West Virginia, portions of Kentucky. You know, we're not talking the what I call fantasy land states where there's not a lot of hunting pressure. So you have to be very careful when you're actually going in and hunting that you're being quiet. That means also not using a big headlamp when you're going in. We're not talking about being quiet there, but deer can see you from a long ways away. I've heard deer blowing from a half mile away as a neighbor across the valley is going clumsily in with a big headlamp that you could land a plane by. There's enough light there. And deer are running from them. They don't know it, but I know it because I'm being quiet on the other side listening. And you can see those deer running away just from the light, let alone the activity and noise that you make. So when you get to the base of your stand, what you do immediately is climb into your stand. If you get to your blind, climb in the blind immediately. Once you're in your stand, you can move slowly, get adjusted, put the clothing on you want, the gear, do whatever you want. You do it slowly, quietly, but if your stand's noisy, if you're standing at the base of your stand and you're making a lot of commotion and movement before you even go up in the stand, you're just opening yourself up for failure and to be detected, let alone one metallic ting can spook a deer 200 yards away. I've literally had stands where I've gone into to hunt. I know there's bedding on the backside. I'm going in the afternoon. I make a ting on the stand. I just assume those deer are clear, go to another stand if I can. It's that critical. And that's why I've hunted for 30 some years, that you can't spook deer. We used to hunt 5-acre woodlots surrounded by ag land. If the deer ran out the other side when you went in, you weren't going to see any deer. Didn't matter if it was morning or afternoon. you weren't going to see any deer. So access is critical, but being quiet, quiet gear, quiet stands, quiet approach, oh so critical, especially the more high pressured your setting is. Once you get to your stand, you've accessed appropriately, you've done so quietly, you've done effectively, you're up in your stand, you're ready to go, you're downwind. The best form of scent control. You could smell like a pig, you can smoke, you can do anything you want on the stand. Because if deer aren't downwind of you, you're not going to spook them. They have to be downwind of you. Always hunt with the thought and with the fact that no matter what you do, scent contraption machine, clothing, sprays, doesn't matter what you do, if a mature deer is downwind of you, you're going to spook them. Just hunt that way. That's the easiest way to do it. It really takes everything out of the equation of wonder. Just locate your stand appropriately. I like locating my stands next to a drop-off, so in the morning I can blow my scent off that ridge and the deer aren't going to smell me as long as they're below me. I like blowing my scent into open hardwoods. People say, what if I hunt open hardwoods? I don't hunt open hardwoods. I hunt on the edge. Deer are creatures of edge. I don't want to be in the middle of the hardwoods. I want a more defined sit. I want to make sure if I'm here, deer are here because it's thick cover, it's good cover, it's on the travel, it's a food source, it's a bedding area. They're on the between bedding areas for cruising. And then I'm blowing my scent to an open area, a swamp, a lake, a neighborhood, a road, a drop off, whatever it might be, non-deer habitat where I don't expect them to be, and I'm enjoying the sit. Because if I've accessed appropriately, I've done so with quiet gear, and I'm in my tree blowing my scent to a non-deer location, boy, you've accomplished more than a huge percentage of the hunters out there. And we're not even talking scouting or hunting the right habitat. You do that and get into your stands, know what a morning stand is or an evening stand, no morning bedding, afternoon food source movement. You've done so quietly, you're on that downwind edge, you're blowing your scent in a non-deer area. Good things will happen, but we're not finished. Because number 4, if you're hunting a bad weather day, then you're not going to have a great hunt. That's why I encourage you to use HuntCast through the HuntWise app. That's something I helped develop, that algorithm I helped develop. That's a huge tool for something I've been using over 30 years for the way I hunt to make sure that I'm hunting good weather. When I look at the next 2 weeks, you can pick out those great weather days. In fact, those really good cold fronts are coming in 7 to 10 days in advance. You can see those easily. We show them to you on the HuntCast app. And that's kind of my brain. I look at the HuntCast app, I look at the weather. Those are literally the days I give value to of when I'd hunt in the woods. Now, we all can't do that. We all can't hunt the best weather. Just know that great weather days, when you're doing these previous 3 things first, and then you're hunting the weather, my gosh, it can't help but be very good. Hunting good weather days sometimes is 50 times stronger than hunting a bad weather day, a 1% day versus a 50% day. Literally, in those 1% days, you can't hunt 20 of them to equal one good one. You can't erase those good days. So if you have a 3-day weekend, try to cheat towards the best day, whether it's Friday or Monday. If you want some good brownie points with your boss, your spouse, your family, your friends, then make sure you're hunting on great days, not hunting on the bad days, and it'll help you manage not only how you hunt and your level of success, but how you balance career and family at the same time, and friends. So that's why I started doing it. I didn't have a lot of hunting time. I had to break up 2 weeks of vacation when I was working at the bank back in 1990 through 98. I had very limited vacation time. Luckily, I could take half days. Didn't have a lot of competition for hunting days off. So I'd take a half day at a time, and you can bet when I took that half day, I made sure I was getting the most of it. And I chose where I worked so that I could hunt those good days, so I didn't have as much competition. I made a lot of life changes and choices so that I could hunt good weather days, whether I had a boss and I only had 2 weeks vacation, or whether I could hunt any day I want. Because let's face it, right now, instead of hunting a bad day, I'd rather get some work done. And so that's why I don't hunt. I'd rather go grouse hunting, go fishing. And in fact, a lot of bad hunting days are great fishing days, so look at that balance. But if you hunt and access well, if you have quiet gear, if you make sure deer aren't downwind of you, if you're hunting great weather, then that's 80-85% of it right there. And the only thing left is making sure that you're picking the appropriate stand, that great bedding area stand in the morning, that great afternoon food source stand in the afternoon. You're not using one to spook out the other. For example, if it looks like you have a great hunting opportunity in the afternoon, you're not going into a bedding area that relates to that movement and potentially spooking out that afternoon hunt because you're going in at the wrong time of the year. I encourage you to hunt mornings, especially during the rut. In fact, I flipped to a major priority during that time. But make sure you're hunting the right stand and then also the right habitat. Just because you saw these great bucks in the summertime doesn't mean they're going to be there during the fall. Bucks need completely different habitat during the fall than they do during the summer. Does don't. Does need thick cover and decent food and cover all year long. Bucks need open overstory and shade, good airflow, cover they won't be smacking their velvet into during the summertime. They need summer food sources, high quality food. The older the buck, the more they gravitate to the best food in the area, which isn't browse. It's some standing crop of acorns, apple tree, maybe a clear cut on public land. But you can rest assured they'll travel a long ways, a mile, 2 miles or more to find that quality food. And then they want thick stem count cover, the same type of cover they can't crash their velvet through during the summertime. So if you're hunting the right time of the season for the habitat, the right time of the day for your stand location, and you're doing these previous 4, you're gonna find a great hunt regardless of what else you're doing. Those are the 5 keys to being a great deer hunting this fall and for the rest of your life. Folks, I wanna make sure you check out my web class video series, whether it's how to design your food plot program or how to design your property in general. And we have a new one coming out that'll be how to hunt the rut. But these bucks back here are a testament. Some of these bucks go back to 93. They're even in different states. I urge you to check out those web classes that you can help yourself, help your land, help your hunt. The link is in the description. And also for those that have tried them out, I encourage you to offer some feedback in the comments below. Thank you.